Trey Murphy, sharpshooter, defender, all-star in waiting. The Pelicans' secret weapon is locked and loaded for a breakout season that will hopefully shock the NBA. It's the Friday episode of Locked On Pelicans. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pelicans, your daily New Orleans Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Pelicans, the daily podcast covering your favorite team, the New Orleans Pelicans and NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, available wherever you get your podcasts and available on YouTube. I'm your host, Pelicans Insider, credential member of the media, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, here with y'all on this Friday, final show of the week. Let's look at Trey Murphy III becoming an all-star this year. That is one of his stated goals. Where is he already in relation to that, and how can he get there, and what maybe could hold him back? We're going to look at it in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Plus, Herb Jones gets major disrespect from some power rankings, and then the Pelicans are holding their annual Back to Basketball Fan Fest. We'll talk about that. That's all. We got a lot to cover in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans, and of course, thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the number one Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join us on YouTube as well. And become an everydayer. It means you listen Monday through Friday to Locked On Pelicans. And if you listen once a week, I appreciate that as well. And you can also watch Locked On Pelicans along with Locked On Saints, Locked On LSU, Locked On SEC on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. Same place you watch your Pelicans play. You can watch Locked On Pelicans there, 10:30 a.m. every single weekday. So let's get into this one here. Trey Murphy III, poised for a breakout season, I think feels safe to say. I've already done the show that he will not win Most Improved Player. That's not going to happen even if he makes an all-star game. This is someone who last year put up really good numbers. 21.2 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He shot 36% from 3 on over 8 attempts per game. Those are all phenomenal numbers from a player of his caliber. Even if you make the all-star game, it's going to be kind of tough here. But Trey Murphy did that kind of largely as the season went on and wasn't that way to start the year because of the injury. And then, as the season went on and the injuries piled up for New Orleans, those stats are largely because of an expanded role that he had. Not largely, but, a big chunk of it is you could just give him the ball, get out of his way because there was nobody else on the team. But when you look at him, right, maybe not as a number one guy this season, maybe in the future, number two guys make all-star games all the time. And with his skill set, even where it is right now, he can be a very elite number two guy. When you look at his catch and shoot ability from 3, that's an elite thing right there that fits perfectly next to Zion Williamson. He can also create off the dribble from 3 too. You see those logo threes that he takes, really providing elite court spacing. There's spacing, then there's what Trey Murphy III can provide. Those threes early on in the shot clock from deep behind the three-point line, while maybe you miss them, that's the type of thing that defenses have to account for when you make them at the rate that Trey Murphy does. And yeah, he absolutely does. So that is the type of player that can really elevate his team here. And when you hear what he's working on, what he talks about, and I had a one-on-one interview with him, he talked about shot making. That's what it sounds like it is. Just overall efficiency and shot making, adding more versatility to his offensive game. We just talked about the three-point shooting. He was robbed of a dunk contest title. We know about that one too. We know he can yam it down low when you give him space, and he's gotten much better at attacking closeouts. You close out hard on him from 3. He can put the ball on the ground, drive, and attack, and you saw improvement in that last year. 2 years ago, if he had done that and you kind of just get in his way, he didn't really have he didn't know what to do. If you kind of wrecked his game plan of what he was doing, there was nothing for him to kind of improvise. And then you saw that get significantly better as that 2 years ago went on, and then you really saw it last year too. More of a mid-range game, more of a bag of moves to get around guys and score at the rim and put it in with some touch, rather than just trying to dunk over guys from probably further away than he should have done. That's pretty significant growth. And when you actually look at him as a player, when you point to guys that have like added to their game, Trey's is maybe the easiest to see compared to almost anybody else on the roster here. So knowing that he can really improve his game, and he's shown it, makes you really excited for him this year. He talked about shooting mid-range shots, adding that to it, that when the rim is taken away or the three-point shot is taken away, all right, I'll just rise up from mid-range. And you might think that a three-point shooter can translate easily to mid-range shots. It's a very different type of shot. It's a very different kind of rhythm to that shot attempt too that takes a lot of time to refine. That's why, at times it was a struggle for someone like Brandon Ingram, elite in mid-range, but not great from three and didn't seem comfortable from three because it's a very different kind of thing. And so Trey adding that to his game and becoming more of a three-level scorer, more versatility is great. One of the things, though, that's really going to elevate him to an all-star status is his self-creation and playmaking for others. And it sounds like he's actively working on that kind of thing. I had a one-on-one interview with him at Media Day, and he even talked about it. It's up on YouTube. It's in your podcast feeds as well. So go give that a listen if you haven't already. Make that your second listen today. Trey talked a lot about coming off of screens. Said he was working on coming off of screens and making shots, whether it's a one-legged, a no-look, as he joked about. That type of stuff is self-creation. Someone sets a screen for you and you're curling off the screen with the ball in your hand and you rise up and shoot. That's self-creation. That's the type of stuff that a number one guy on a team does. So Trey is starting to add that type of repertoire more to his bag rather than being a spot-up guy, a catch-and-shoot guy, that type of situation. That's how you get to that level. That's how you get to that level of being an all-star. You've got to kind of create for others as well and yourself rather than just being a guy that relies on others to set you up. Zion will do a lot of that for Trey Murphy. Zion will do a ton of that for Trey Murphy III here. But Trey adding this to his game, that's how he takes a leap forward. That's what's going to get you at an all-star level. All right, you double Zion, cool. Give me the ball and I'll go create more, and then I'm going to break down your defense with that self-creation, maybe get Zion back open, or just shoot it myself. Trey's assist numbers are great last year, 3.5. That playmaking for his teammates is a really important thing for him to be able to do. There's no real true point guard that's at least healthy on this team right now. Maybe DeJounte Murray is that guy, but he's not quite like an elite lead guard. He's still good at it, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. So you need to make up for that in other areas. Zion's one of them. Jordan Poole can be that partially too. There's no reason why Trey Murphy III can't be a part of that as well. This is how you elevate your team, and he knows that, right? Trey knows that being an all-star requires you to win games. When I asked him, what will it take for you to be an all-star? He said, elevating my team, helping my team win, and leading. Those are two things that are going to be really important. The way you get two players to the all-star game, let's assume Zion's one of them, is you need to be good. You need to be good. Your team needs to be good. A bad team's not going to send two guys to the all-star game. Trey gets this. So he knows how much winning is going to matter. So if he can provide leadership, help elevate this team through that too, that's only going to bolster his chances. It's also just going to mean you win more, which is probably why he would be working on that sort of thing, not just for, the individual accolades and awards that come with it. But he definitely views himself as a guy that can be a number one guy on a team. And what I love about that mentality is that he's actively working towards it. Again, what I said earlier was, I think when you look at his career, you can see where he is improved every offseason. And now you're giving him an offseason where he said at Media Day, there's a new hunger to him because of how much time he missed. He hasn't played since March. That time off, forced time off, I think seemed to have given him a new appreciation for where he was, created a new hunger inside of him. That should terrify the league. That should terrify the league that if Trey Murphy can get better than he already was. I'm excited for that as a Pelicans fan. I know you're excited for it as a Pelicans fan too. Everybody else, they don't like this at all. They don't like this one bit, but Trey's definitely capable of taking this leap this season with what he's added to his repertoire, to his skill set. You add in some better defense, some better rebounding, and he knows he needs to improve in those areas. The rebounding has gotten better, so I think that's an important thing. His size is really good. The defensive ability, he has all the tools to be a good defender. I think if you're able to increase those two things even mildly, that's the type of thing that's going to really, really raise him up, but also becoming, near a number one guy on the offensive side of the ball. Do you think Trey Murphy III has a shot of being an all-star this season? Let me know in the comments down below, yes or no. Next, you're just not gonna believe this Herb Jones disrespect. It took me a couple minutes to comprehend this. I'll tell you what it is. That's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Today's episode of Locked On Pelicans is brought to you by SKIMS Menswear. When I found out SKIMS was making underwear for men, I was very intrigued because I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. And let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear. Like fit, riding up is terrible. I don't like it to feel like athletic wear, like I'm wearing basketball shorts or anything like that. So SKIMS just frankly nailed it. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of style and comfort. I love the stretch 5-inch boxer brief. I'm wearing a pair literally right now. Not going to show you. It's all good there. Going to the gym, working out, I like a material that has some stretch, has some movement to it, that just doesn't feel like athletic gear. So that if I go from doing that to a meeting or recording a podcast or getting on a plane, you've got the comfort that you need. I don't want to feel like it's wearing basketball shorts under my pants or jeans or whatever. With the SKIMS stretch 5-inch boxer brief, I don't know, the quality is just phenomenal. It's got the stretch I need. It's really breathable, and it doesn't feel like I'm wearing athletic wear. So I absolutely love that about it. So shop SKIMS Mens at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. So after you place an order, select podcast in the survey, select Locked On Pelicans or Locked On NBA in the show, in the drop-down menu that follows over at skims.com. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the number one Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well. And become an everydayer. That means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. And if you're an everydayer, let me know in the comments down below. And look, if you listen 1 day a week, 2 days a week, it's totally okay. I love that. Just any of y'all making Locked On Pelicans part of your day in any capacity is greatly appreciated here. You know who's not appreciated by national media is Herb Jones. Herbert Keyshawn Jones is not, I can't get over this. So y'all remember we did the Locked On Top 100. And one of the things that just genuinely shocked me about that was Herb Jones finished 84th, which is way too low. I get he only played 20 games last season, but this is someone who just 2 years ago was on the all-defensive first team, finished 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and was the first non-big, non-center on that list. Herb Jones is as impactful an elite of a player as you get, especially on the defensive side of the ball. 2 years ago, he shot 42% from three. It regressed last year, but again, a lot of injuries that he was dealing with down to 30%. But 84th for an all first team defender seems silly to me. Well, ESPN and The Ringer put out their top 100 players. The Ringer had Herb Jones come in at 96th. 96th. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? If that's where we are voting someone who is easily an all-defensive first-team guy every single year. Do we not value defense in the NBA? What's even worse than The Ringer putting him at 36, I think 84 with Locked On is too low. What's even worse than The Ringer is ESPN put out their top 100. Their top 100 players. And Herb Jones isn't on their list of top 100 players from ESPN's rankings. I don't get it. Look, his offense isn't the best. There's things he needs to do to grow and improve in that area and be more consistent in, right? last year, 10.3 points per game for his career, 10 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists. But those numbers and what he does, I think, are pretty good. And the defensive ability that he provides when Luka Doncic is like, he's the toughest guy I've ever basically had to play against, among other players saying that same thing about him. It's like, I don't know, it's almost like insulting in a sense. It's just really weird that national media doesn't love Herb Jones despite everybody trying to trade Herb Jones away from the Pelicans. And you know what? I was thinking, as I'm doing this, like I could come in hot and you'd be like, this is dumb. What the heck? These people don't know what they're doing. Like really lean into the disrespect angle. And I'm just here being like, I talked to Herb Jones at Media Day. The interview was posted. He wouldn't care about this at all. Herb Jones wouldn't care about this at all. So I'm going to be like Herb Jones here and just be like, whatever. You know what? I'm happy Herb Jones is on this team. I'm even more happy that Herb Jones wants to be on this team. When talking to him, this was maybe one of the most surprising parts of the interview. I did not know this at all. Was that, he said he checked in during the offseason, was kind of asking about his contract and was like, oh, by the way, you're extension eligible. And he was like, I want to do this. I would like to sign an extension. Herb Jones, I asked him, I said, was it you that came to them about an extension or did they come to you? Because you were just in some trade rumors and then you signed an extension. So did you go to the team and were you like, hey, is there something to this or what have you? And he was like, well, when I checked in with the team, it was like I was extension eligible and he basically was like, let's talk. He said it was like 50-50 him coming to the team and the team coming to him being like, let's work on another long-term deal. And Herb has also said, Herb's a bit of an outlier when it comes to NBA players. He doesn't want as much money as he could get. When that extension kind of came out, a lot of people around the league were like, that's all for Herb Jones. The guy that everyone is trying to trade for doesn't get more money than what he got. And the answer to that was he just doesn't care. He just wants to make enough money like for his family with everything. And he has done that and he's happy. He said he just wants his family to like live. To just live how they want to live, and that's just who he is. Like, you could not love this player more. I could not love this player on this team more, and I honestly can't imagine a world where I would want him traded away. I don't really own Pelicans jerseys. It's not my thing. Part of it's like covering the team and that kind of stuff. There's got to be like a degree of like not full fan, even though I am, but you get what I'm trying to say here. I bought a new Pelicans jersey last year when I liked the purple and everything that they had, but I wanted the new Herb Jones jersey with the new number and everything, the number 2, because that's just how much I like this dude and just his attitude and basically everything with it. It's just so great. Next year, in 2 years, in 27-28, when the extension kicks in, he's going to make $21 million, then $22.5 million, then he has a player option for $24 million. I would imagine he would decline that. $21 million for Herb Jones is phenomenal. This year he's making 14. Next year he's making 15, then 21 million. It might be the best contract in the NBA, or it's certainly going to be up there, along with Trey Murphy's, especially if he makes an all-star team. And Herb Jones is the dude that puts in the work, right? They got to kick him out the gym because he just doesn't want to stop playing. He just wants to wear Pelicans team gear and play basketball. When you talk about a hooper, the guy that fits into the type of Pelicans culture, it's Herb Jones. He's not going to be the most vocal guy. We know that. But is he going to be the guy that is hustling, working, that you just need on the team? He is always going to be that. And he knows he needs to work on his shooting, his mid-range, and how he can work off ball a little bit more and kind of fill the offensive stats up a little bit better. He even talked to me about that. And with this kind of attitude, right, like that's all he cares about, and that's what he's going to do. And that's what's so exciting and like wonderful about a player like him. Herb Jones is just like, Herb is the best, right? Like that's kind of what we have here. He's just a great guy. He also asked me a great question about why I do the podcast and things like that. It was really a very good question. He maybe should be a host someday, even though he's kind of quiet, because he followed it up with like a very insightful question that got me to give what I thought was a pretty good answer. Getting me going like that, kind of turning it around on me is fun. That was a question I asked everyone at Media Day was, is there anything you want to ask me? Trey Murphy played Would You Rather which is fun. Go watch that interview. The players just had a lot of fun. Kevon Looney asked for restaurant recommendations, which I thought was pretty great. They had a good time with all of this. So Media Day was a lot of fun. Go give that interview with Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, because they're both on YouTube right now and wherever you get your podcast. They're in the feeds. Go give those a listen, because those were really great, really insightful, and I just enjoy both of those players tremendously. The Jordan Poole one is posted too. I'll have the Kevon Looney, Eve Misi, and Willie Green interviews up very soon, along with Jose Alvarado as well. It was Media Day. We talked a lot, got a lot of insight for everything, so that was pretty cool. There you go. Herb Jones is the best, right? Show Herb Jones some love, since ESPN, and to a lesser extent The Ringer, and to an even lesser extent, thank goodness, Locked On, isn't showing him enough love here. But Herb Jones, just basically the best. Coming up next, Pelicans Back to Basketball fan event. Y'all are not going to want to miss this, and I'll tell you why. As there's a specific reason I'm saying that. It's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Today's episode of Locked On Pelicans is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping into the futures. Zion MVP odds, jump on them now. It's only going to go down, up, depending on how you look at it from here. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel's been with Locked On for a long time. Great partner here. I don't think we've ever seen a $300 bonus bet offer like this. So you really want to take advantage if you're new to FanDuel. Again, FanDuel.com to get started. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We are here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast, covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 11,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well. And become an everydayer. It means you listen Monday through Friday to the Locked On Pelicans podcast. Shout out the everydayers. I see y'all in the comments down below. For your second listen, it's Locked On Saints with Ross Jackson. Any way the Saints can turn the season around? How's he feeling about Spencer Rattler? Go give Locked On Saints a listen. Make him your second listen today. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, final thing to talk about here, because this is coming up before we know it. The Pelicans announced that they're hosting their annual Back to Basketball event presented by Entergy. This is going to be Friday, October 10th at 6 p.m. Central at the Smoothie King Center. The event, which is free and open to the public, will provide fans with an exclusive opportunity to preview the 2025-26 Pelicans roster and will include appearances by Pierre the Pelican. We love him, the Pel Squad, who's always fun, and interactive activities involving players. You can get your free back to basketball tickets online. Seating's general admission. It's basically like the open practice that they've done in the past, even though it's just more interactive, more fun than what we've seen. Parking's complimentary, beginning at 4 p.m. in Garage 2-5 in the Champions Garage at the Caesars Superdome. First come, first served basis there. Arena doors are going to open at 5:15. This event's always fun. I will be there running around. Always a great event. Say hi if you see me, where you can just see the personality of these players in a way that you haven't before. I don't exactly know what the programming and the plan is here, but you'll see them go through some mini scrimmages, some drills and things, and you're going to be blown away by this team, I think. There's an energy in the building there right now at Airline Drive from Media Day, from the first couple of training camp practices, that is tough for me to communicate to y'all. It's just kind of words, right? You need to experience it to see it. That idea, and we talked about this yesterday, of like, I was wrong about culture. There is, a level of just hard work, excitement that this group has that they are going to bring on a nightly basis. May not translate to wins. They are very careful about saying that, so they're not setting the expectations too high for this team. However, you're going to feel it when you watch them. That's kind of the goal, right? If you watched my interview with Jordan Poole, I played a clip for it the other day, is fans kind of like expect a certain level, a floor of effort, of energy. This group's going to bring that every night. I couldn't say that about last year. That part of that's the losing that they went through with everything. But this is your first opportunity to kind of see the work on the culture, the commitment to playing 100% every single time. You will see these guys fly around, working harder than maybe you've ever seen them before at this back to basketball event for the New Orleans Pelicans. It's also going to be hilarious because all the rookies got to sing. Right? That's one of the things they do every single year. The rookies get dressed up in silly costumes. They sing, they have fun. And that's the type of thing that makes this great. You know, you want to like the team that you're rooting for. You want to be able to understand and get their personalities. It's why someone like Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy are really great on this team because they are so likable. It's one of the reasons why I would view Trey Murphy as untradeable. You know, should you, not that they're doing this now because Zion looks great too, ever move on from Zion and you kind of need a face of the franchise, you can easily be Trey Murphy III with the personality that he has. It's why you also see him do a lot of media. I mean, he's a magnetic guy. You'll see this at these events. Trey has kind of been the MC in years past and really loves doing it. So this is always just a fun, exciting event, in my opinion, to really kind of get an idea of this team. It's not going to necessarily translate to wins and losses, but you want to pack the Smoothie King Center and have a team that you care about and believe in. And I think you'll see some of this in Back to Basketball. I'm telling you, I'm walking out of there from Media Day, there is something different. Again, it might not translate to wins or losses, but this is the type of team that I think you'll be proud to root for every single night during the regular season and hopefully the postseason. That's a good start to things. You'd like the wins and to follow from that. And I think they can and they will, but at least you get that level where you're not going to be like, oh, this team's sleepwalking, this team doesn't care, because we've seen that before. You're not going to see that with this team this year. That's the culture. Give that yesterday's show a listen if you haven't already. So that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Pelicans, this week of Locked On Pelicans. I'll be posting more interviews on audio and video side of everything too, so keep an eye on that. As always, I'm your host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. This is the Locked On Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. See y'all on Monday.